Welcome back to Beyond the Stats. We got week 7 football is over. I guess Monday Night Football is going on right now, but
Yeah,
overall, we got most of week 7 done and kind of hit back on some points we talked about earlier and review the games, review the week, how the week went.
yeah. So, kind of wanted to get your thoughts on a couple of the games we talked about. Broncos came out with a win.
You called it, actually.
Yeah.
I had no faith. You called it. It wasn't a great win,
No.
but all of a sudden our defense looks like they can play, which Vance Joseph's a good defensive coordinator. That's what it was so weird at the start of the season. Cortland Sutton actually came out and had a good game. And it's like I said before last week, I didn't expect it because the Packers had so much time.
They had so much time, but I mean, is LaFleur going to get. I know he just signed an extension,
Mm-hmm.
but what he's done in Green Bay has not, other than a single year
Yeah,
where Rodgers won MVP, has not been great.
I think it depends what happens towards as the season progresses, but I think they'll give a full season or two letting him and Love together.
Yeah. Green Bay's a notoriously patient franchise,
Right.
so they'll give him every shot. But Packers are struggling this year, and I think that they're a bad team.
What's funny is Utah State fan
Mm-hmm.
Sean and I, when Jordan Love got drafted, everyone was like, "We're so excited to see as he sits and develops." And Sean and I were like, Jordan Love, I don't think he's that guy."
I
he
mean,
he in at Utah State would put up big numbers, and then anytime we had like an actual game that mattered, would just crumble.
yeah, I went and watched him against Wyoming his last year at Utah State, and very talented quarterback. Got a great arm, great mobility. There was multiple times in that game where I'm like, missed the read, missed the read. Shouldn't have thrown it to that guy. That guy was covered. It's like so I'd hoped that those couple of years under Rodgers, he'd learned something similar to what people are hoping with the Jets
Right.
with Zach Wilson. He's still young. It's his first season starting.
Right.
Give him some time, but Packers look rough this year, and especially, I mean, Bakhtiari's been he's the focal point of that offensive line.
Right.
Hasn't been there except for one or two games.
Right.
I
So
think until he comes back, that offense is going to struggle.
I'm hoping this gives a little bit more, tiny bit more trade value to like Jerry Judy and a couple guys.
Yeah,
I do hope the Broncos still make some trades. Uh, just being okay, we won a game, and now all of a sudden not looking at trades would be stupid in my opinion. I think it's the perfect time to sell
they need to
after
be
a win.
sellers at the trade deadline.
Yeah,
Trade deadline's coming up. I mean, they need to field calls, listen to every offer that comes through, and
yeah,
that team's in rebuild mode in Denver. You guys will win a couple of games, but you need to take every offer you get.
100%. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But it was fun to be able to watch a Broncos game and enjoy it.
Enjoy. Yeah.
Speaking about things that we discussed last week, the Bears.
The Bears. I mean, Bagent, however you want to pronounce it. I mean, I was talking him up last podcast.
Yeah, if you guys did not watch the week 7 preview that we did on Saturday, Roman was bragging this dude up, and I hadn't even heard of him.
Yeah, and nobody
Had. Nobody had.
Everyone in the preseason's like, "How's this guy going to be the backup quarterback
Yep.
over Lindley?" And I'm like, "Forget Lindley. I mean, Badgen's got talent, dude. I mean, he's going to come in and compete. He's the guy I want as my backup."
And he didn't it's not like came out and put up crazy numbers, but he did what he needed to do. They focused on the run game, and when they needed him to make a play, he made a play.
Yeah.
He made great reads, he made great audibles,
Well, and
and controlled the game.
he protected the football. I mean, a lot of
Yep.
people worried about the game being too big. Came out of D2 Shepherd, small school, but the guy came in. He went with the flow of the game, made the plays that matter, and kept them on track.
Yeah.
That's all he needed to do.
Yeah, that was awesome to see.
Yeah,
That
it was
that
so
surprised
sweet.
me, and made that game a fun game to watch.
Yeah, it was. I loved watching him. I it's kind of like a hate love for me because I do like Justin Fields a lot,
Yeah.
but I think that they're trying to put too much on him too early.
Well, that's the thing that I found funny about this game is everyone's like, well, they're keeping it simple with Bagent, so obviously he looks good. Why aren't you doing that with Justin Fields, the guy who's really struggling? Maybe you should make it a little bit more simple.
You should. I mean, play to your quarterback's strengths, protect him a little bit. Even the best quarterbacks have to be protected at times.
Right.
You know what your quarterback's weaknesses are. You see him day in and day out, and you still put him in situations that don't help him. And the Bears staff realize, oh, we've got to protect Badgett,
Right.
and look how it worked out. So
Yeah, that was exciting to see. It's funny because like I'm almost hoping Fields misses a couple of games because I want to see Badgett be able to come out and prove himself.
yeah, and I think he's going to struggle, have his struggles, but
Yeah.
realistically, Badgett could be this year's Brock Purdy to where Justin Fields becomes a trade piece if they want him to.
Which
Or
they
Badgett
need
is a
pieces.
trade piece.
Either way, they need pieces. So it would be if they can have two quarterbacks come out and look solid, it'd be good for the Bears to actually put some pieces together on that team.
Yeah, they need help all over on that team. So either way, it's a win for them.
Yeah.
But it'll be exciting to watch over the next few weeks just to see what happens.
Yeah.
Some of the other games, Chargers Chiefs.
That ended up being kind of interesting. The Chiefs are starting to put it together.
Turned it on. And that's kind of what I was saying last week when we talked about it is Chiefs so far this year had not been special except for on defense.
Right.
And we know they can turn it on. They just haven't. And they've done it the last couple of years. First 5 or 6 games, they're just kind of like, whatever. We'll figure it out. And it seems like they have. Taylor Swift may help. It seems like every time.
Dude, it's getting to a point where it's like it's like making them unwatchable at this point though, because it's like I don't need to watch Taylor Swift and Brittany Mahomes dance every time something happens. Like, let's just watch some football. If you want to show them, every once in a while, that's fine. We do that with parents and families and stuff anyway. But it's excessive.
Every time Travis has a catch, they immediately go to Taylor Swift in the box. But he's averaging like 175 yards a game that she's in attendance.
Yeah, his numbers are crazy good when she's there.
So if you know Taylor Swift's going to be in attendance to the next game, play Travis Kelce in every fantasy lineup you have.
Yeah, all your FanDuel stuff,
everything.
Pick up Travis Kelce, bet on the spread for Travis Kelce and the Chiefs.
Take the over no matter what.
Yeah.
The Chargers continue to struggle. For the last 3 years, it's been, hey, the Chargers are going to do it. Well, very similar sentiment to the Buffalo Bills that got beat by the Patriots.
That was shocking.
I mean, last couple of years, those have been two teams that are contenders. They're Super Bowl. They're talked about going to the Super Bowl every single year. And every single year, they seem to disappoint.
Yeah, it's like I feel like it's like 1 or 2 losses away from Staley getting fired.
I think that Staley's going to be in the hot seat over the next few weeks.
Yeah. And the more they struggle, the more that's going to get brought up more and more. And it's going to add more pressure.
And as a franchise, I think it was Schottenheimer led them to 4 or 5 straight playoff appearances. I think they went to the AFC Championship 3 times in a row. But they lost every single time, and they finally fired Schottenheimer. He was like 13-3 or something like that his last year that he got fired. But so they're patient to an extent, but if you continue to fail at the same point over and over and over, they just say kick rocks.
Yeah, I think it's time for them to move on from him.
I think so.
They've got a lot of talent, and it hasn't shown.
No, they seem to have big injuries every single year.
Right.
And so I don't know if maybe that's something that Staley's fallen back on, but conversation's always next man up. Figure it out.
Right. For sure.
So, Cardinals Seahawks.
That was kind of what you said would happen, is that Dobbs would maybe keep him in it.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, it was.
It's kind of a boring game. I mean, we knew Seattle, they've struggled at times, but at home, division rival, like like you said, Dobbs kept him in it for a while, but we knew that the Seahawks would pull it out.
Yeah, yeah, that wasn't really a surprise at all.
No. Steelers beat the Rams.
Which, yeah, I there was like a sneaky little bit of like maybe as the Steelers are getting healthy, maybe all of a sudden they come out and have a big game. But
Mm-hmm.
that one, the Rams were kind of disappointing. Which is funny is Cooper Cup really wasn't heavily targeted that game.
No.
Didn't have many receptions. And he's a guy you got to get involved. I mean, it was great for me. I have Puka Nakua
Yeah.
on, in our fantasy league that we play together. So that was great for me because Puka got all the catches, but you're, as a team, going to struggle if you're not getting the ball to Cooper Cup. And their defense seems to
Be very mediocre.
yeah, at best.
I mean, Aaron Donald's still there. He makes the occasional play, but
Beyond that,
they have, I don't know who's on that defense after him.
it seems like they just continually let people go.
Yeah.
And
every year.
they're now feeling that big time.
And they're in a very tight window. Stafford's at the end of his career.
Yep.
Got maybe a year or two left.
Aaron Donald
has flirted with retirement.
So, yeah, they either need to bring some pieces in or I don't know. They need to commit one way or the other, though.
Yeah, they haven't committed to a full rebuild, and I think it's time.
I wonder if the explosion of Puka will make them commit to it.
I wonder if the explosion of Puka will make them get rid of every asset they have to chase the championship this year.
That's possible.
Now they're going, okay, we got Cup, we got Puka, we still got Higbee, we got Tutu Atwell. Now's our chance. So let's do everything we have to do to get any player that can help us get to a championship.
Right.
It's what they did a few years ago, and it worked. So,
yeah, I think it all depends on what happens the next couple of weeks. If they look good over the next couple of weeks, they probably are buyers and they're trying to push for one or two more championships. But if Puka's looking good, but the team's struggling and losing to the Steelers,
yeah, well, and the spot at the end of the game didn't help them.
Yeah.
So, Browns beat the Colts by 1.
Which that was a blowout. Or not blowout, but like huge scoring game.
Yeah. 38-39.
Huge scoring game, which
didn't expect the points.
No, the Browns were like were a crazy good team. I saw a graphic going into this week and it had all the teams on the amount of passing yards and rushing yards they were allowing, and everyone was kind of like in the middle. Mm-hmm. Broncos were way up here, but then the Browns were way down here. So to see a team like the Colts come out and put up a bunch of points on them surprised me. It looks like Zach Moss is slowly kind of taking his step back to JT, which everyone kind of expected. It just took him a little bit longer.
Yeah.
They had the same amount of carries. Jonathan Taylor was way more efficient in them, but he was also way more present in the pass game.
So. And that's something I brought up last week is even though they're getting similar carries, they seem to be involving Taylor more in the passing game.
Yep.
And that offense, I understand you got to play your number one pick. But that offense flows better with Minshew at quarterback.
Right. Minshew's always had a...
He's
the Ryan Fitzpatrick of this era.
Ryan Fitzpatrick, man. I mean, so take it as you want. But,
yeah.
They almost won, and it was surprising. Josh Downs had a huge game. I've been a big fan of him. Browns now have the same amount of wins or more wins. It's either the same or more behind PJ Walker compared to Deshaun Watson.
And that's the thing is their offense, if anything, looks better when Deshaun Watson's not playing.
I don't know what's going on there, but Deshaun Watson, that experiment has failed.
Yeah, it's not a good situation for the Browns, and it seems to be a situation they always find themselves in.
Yeah, and they're paying him a whole lot of money. I mean, Amari Cooper has disappeared on that team.
Yep.
I understand the Chubb thing took away a big part of their team, but you don't pay Deshaun Watson the money you do and Amari Cooper for your offense to be as bad as it is with your quarterback in.
Right.
So,
Yeah. I'm hoping, honestly, that he doesn't clear concussion protocols this week. See what PJ Walker can come in and do with a full game.
Yeah.
Next week with a full week of preparation. I've been enjoying watching him play.
Yeah. PJ Walker, I mean, journeyman, but teams have always liked PJ Walker. He just always seems to get beat out.
Yeah.
So, be interesting. Giants and Commanders. I didn't expect the Giants to win. That Commanders D line is so dominant.
Yeah.
But
that's like very typical Giants thing to do. Every couple weeks, all of a sudden, a game where you're just like, they're not going to win this, and it's like every year. It's every couple weeks, all of a sudden they come out and get a big win that looks really good, and they look really good in it, and you're just like, oh, what the heck? And then they go back to being the Giants.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it was Jonathan Allen.
Mm-hmm.
He went off after the game.
Did he?
Yeah, he's like, I've been here 7 years.
I saw that.
And it's been the same damn result every single time.
Yep, I saw that.
So, I mean, your best players on that team are your D line, and they're tired of it. They're 3-4. I don't think, short of a deep playoff run, I think Ron Rivera is going to be out of a job.
Right. It didn't help that Dotson dropped a touchdown.
It did not help
in the red zone, which it wasn't a great ball. It was behind him, but your receiver gets the ball here. He should be catching that.
The other interesting thing is his offensive coordinator, Eric Bieniemy, has been a hot candidate for head coaching jobs the last couple of years.
Do they end up just wanting to keep him as the head coach?
Well, you're 3-4 right now. I mean, and do you just make the move now?
Right.
Make him your interim, test him out second half of the season. If you end up making a playoff run, sign him for a couple of years.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah. It's what I would do if I was the owner in Cleveland. Ron Rivera, Washington. He's been a respected coach for a long time. Never a great coach, though.
I was going to say that, but they've never been really good.
I mean, in Carolina, he was always well respected.
Yeah.
But never a great coach.
Yeah.
So, Eric Bieniemy, a lot of people wanted to see him as a head coach, so I think it's time he gets his chance. Falcons beat the Buccaneers.
Which, I feel like that game was kind of similar to what we thought would happen.
Mm-hmm.
The one surprise was Bijan Robinson going into the game, no news on him, and then all of a sudden finding out after the game, oh, he was sick. He almost didn't dress.
Yeah, and they're talking headaches, migraines, stomach ache, whatever it is. It's a weird situation.
Yeah.
I mean, the NFL even said that they're going to investigate it.
Yeah.
With him not being on the injury report. Ritter came out, performed well against a pretty solid Tampa Bay secondary defense.
Yeah, he had two lost fumbles.
Yeah, that's been his issue all year,
which is what we talked about. And one of them was as he's walking into the end zone. He is on the inch-yard line and kind of got a little loose in early celebration. The guy knocks it out and ends up being a touchback. And it was just like, finish that play, and no one's talking anything about that game beyond how good you looked. It's those small things.
Yeah.
That Bagent, right? Take care of the ball.
Yeah.
And you've got a good enough team around you.
Well, and I mean, it's interesting. He's a very young quarterback, second year. So they have a winning record. They're 4-3.
Yeah.
Falcons have a legit chance this year. So he cleans up a couple of those mistakes, those fumbles. The biggest issue right now with his game. Drake London is starting to come on. Kyle Pitts is starting to come on. If Bijan, they decide to play him.
Yeah.
They have a solid team.
Because that's huge if they can get him to be playing consistent and be putting up good numbers and take care of the ball. Because then they're not concerned about a quarterback in the draft, and they can start to put other pieces on this team.
Yeah.
Because I think they're one of the best young teams with talent that if they have the right players put in place, could in a couple years be pushing it.
Offensive wise.
Yes.
They have a top 15 receiver from the last draft. They have one of supposedly the greatest tight end prospects ever in Kyle Pitts. So, I mean, their defense is, played surprisingly well against Tampa
Right.
Bay. They're young, but going into the draft, like you said, they can look to add pieces. Add a
Yep.
stud linebacker, a pass rusher. They
Yep.
have no pass rush,
Nope.
so interesting. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. That was. I mean, we're both Ritter fans,
Yeah,
so I was pumped to see Desmond Ritter continuing to play well. I just want to see him take care of the ball.
yeah, it'll come. He's young, but it'll be interesting. Patriots beat the Bills. No one saw this coming.
No, no. I mean, we talked about it. We thought it was going to be a blowout,
Yeah,
right? This was supposed to be a blowout, and instead we had to watch Mac Jones's try an attempt at a gritty at the end of the game. Did you see that?
I did.
He as he runs up, it was so bad.
He did it in college too, and Mike Gesicki's not helping him. He is a terrible dancer. He was in Miami, but man.
But they went out and beat Buffalo.
And I'm happy because I hate Buffalo.
Right.
But it's the Patriots, dude. Like, I don't want to see the Patriots win.
Here's the one problem being a Dolphins fan is now the story makes it even bigger of, the Dolphins only beat bad teams and get blown out by a Bills team who couldn't even beat the Patriots.
Yeah.
That's only going to fuel that.
It is, and it is what it is, but
yeah, I was shocked to see how that game went.
Yeah.
It I don't know. You keep questioning the Bills on can they actually have a team to compete to go win a Super Bowl?
Yeah, just like San Diego or LA, the Chargers, whatever you want to call them.
Thing.
But that's been the same topic. I mean, Josh Allen, the topic of the last couple of years is, hey, this is our window. This is our window. This is our window.
And he's another guy who continually can't take care of the ball.
Turns it over and over and over. I mean, he had one interception yesterday and a fumble.
Yeah. Those are things you expect from a second-year quarterback in Desmond Ritter, not from your superstar quarterback who's supposed to be leading you to a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
When he's doing this, last year I believe led the league in interceptions.
Yep.
And on a bad pace again with turnovers.
I think he's on pace for like 26 or 25 interceptions this year.
Yeah. So
not good.
Until he cleans things up.
Or maybe it was 25 total turnovers. Either way.
Yeah.
Bad stat.
He continually has had those issues, and they're not getting much better.
No, they're not. And we'll see what happens in Buffalo, but I know that they'll turn it around. Sean McDermott's a good coach.
Yeah.
He has proven that more than Staley with the Chargers. But
yeah,
that Buffalo team, you see around the league, a lot of offensive coaches are excelling. And Josh Allen continues to have the same problems in Buffalo.
Yep.
So Detroit Lions got blown out by the Ravens.
We were so wrong. So wrong. Everyone was.
I know. And I thought that Lamar Jackson could start to put it together.
Yeah.
Because the Detroit, their strength is not their secondary.
No.
So you kind of figure, okay, if you're able to slow down the pass rush, Lamar may be able to put things together. Holy shit, dude. He went off.
Dude, and I was so excited for that game to see the Lions play a competitive team and, to see really where they stack up. And it was just like, oh my gosh. And yeah, they were missing Montgomery, but they still got blown out.
Yeah, and I mean, they were 1-5 at this point last year,
right?
1-6, something like
around
that.
There. Yeah,
they're 5-2. They're a much improved team. They're gonna make the playoffs. They are not a star team.
No,
there's still more work that needs to be done, but they've come a long way, and can't forget that. But dude, they got just shellacked.
I was kind of going through some of the games watching them Sunday, and then got up, kind of did a couple things, sat back down, checked some scores as I was watching one of the games, and I was just like, "Oh my gosh!"
Yeah. Well, I mean, our father has Jared Goff in
So
fantasy.
yeah, we just heard him cussing
He was
all
so pissed
day
off.
about how bad Jared Goff was because
And he threw the ball 53 times.
which is not Jared Goff. It's like
That is not
you
his
don't have
strength, man.
Montgomery, so you decide to not do anything in the run
No.
game.
I mean, and that's what's frustrating is I'm not a big Jahmyr Gibbs fan, but 11 carries and he had 68 yards.
Right.
Like, just give him the ball 15, 20 times. Run the ball still.
Yeah, don't just decide to act like you have Mahomes at your quarterback.
Yeah, so, I mean, they played a bad game plan. I think that they'll come back and have a better showing next week, but
yeah,
Baltimore made a point.
Yes. Yeah, Baltimore, the question kept being of their offense being able to figure it out because their defense looked good, and then that's scary for the league if their offense can look this good, though.
Yeah. I mean, and they have weapons. Zay Flowers, Odell, Mark Andrews. I know they don't have a great running back, but Gus Edwards always been steady.
Well, and they've still got that two backfield approach with Gus
Yeah.
Edwards and Justice Hill to give them a little bit, but the whole point of their run game is to just give Lamar Jackson a little bit of freedom anyway.
Right. And he had it as much as he wanted on Sunday.
Yep.
Whatever he wanted to do, it was available.
Yep.
So, Bears kind of talked about it.
Talked about that one.
Destroyed the Raiders.
Yeah, blew out the Raiders, which is you rolled out with Brian Hoyer as your quarterback.
Is McDaniels going to get another year?
Dude, no shot. That dude is the worst from experience. That dude is the worst head coach. I was so happy when the Raiders hired him because he's such a bad freaking coach.
So I was
head coach.
I was reading the other day, back when he was Denver's coach, he was like 5-0 or 5-1, whatever. They had like a 5-game winning streak, and that is when he got caught passing out practice film from the other team. Once he got caught, they never won another game.
Yeah,
so
he
learned a lot of those, and people will call it cheating because recording the other team's practice is cheating, but you take any advantage you can get. He hasn't figured it out.
No.
He's got to figure something else out. You want to push the rules, but dude, I don't think he's going to get another year.
No shot. No shot. They did all this, got rid of Derek Carr because he wanted to get rid of Derek Carr, which same exact story. He wanted to get rid of Jay Cutler in Denver.
Yeah.
And they brought in their prized new possession of Jimmy Garoppolo, who everyone knew wasn't a good quarterback. And
what happens to him after the year?
McDaniels or Garoppolo?
Both. Like McDaniels, where does he go? Back to New England?
Somebody will pick him up as an offense coordinator.
Go back to the Patriots. Their offense coordinator has been bad.
I guess that's true. It's been a nightmare there. So. Same thing what he did with Denver. Go, get fired as a head coach and go crawling back to Bill Belichick.
And it happens. A lot of good coaches, coordinators, bad head coaches.
Yeah.
So go back to New England. Just be the greatest offense coordinator ever.
And that's the thing is whether they keep Mac Jones or bring in a new quarterback, they need an offense coordinator there. So
they need McDaniels back, and I think he's going to be available.
Yeah. I'd be shocked if he wasn't.
He could be available at some point this year.
Yep.
So, and then we did talk about the Jaguars game. So the Sunday night football game, Dolphins-Eagles.
Man, that was frustrating.
It was. I'll give my point. I want to. What were your thoughts?
There's a couple decisions that Tua made that it's just like you're watching him, you're like, what are you doing? And it was frustrating because your defense played well. Your defense got turnovers. They did what you need them to do in a game like this, and the offense just disappointed.
It was the offense struggled. Tua, I only saw 2 or 3 plays where I'm just like, dude, what are you doing? And we've kind of talked about it. The refereeing in that game. I don't want to blame anything on the refs. Honestly, it was 2 or 3 plays that changed that game. Tyreek Hill's drop when he's running to the end zone.
That one hurt.
That hurt a lot. But the very next play, our player is face masked, trying to come back for the ball, and there's no call.
That was bad. That was bad.
I mean, there's like 4 blatant screenshots of penalties that were missed, and I'm sure many were missed on Miami, but they were big plays, like right at the ball.
We talked a little bit about the Mostert one. When you look at a frame of it, it looks bad. The pass interference on Mostert that was not called. The thing is, though, is that was one of those plays. As Tua was throwing it, I was like, "What are you doing?"
I saw him throwing that, and I'm like, "Why do we have 2 guys in the same spot,
same exact spot?" And it was just a kind of a aired out as he's getting pressure.
Yeah,
lobs it up. It was asking to get picked.
It was, and Jalen Waddle went out for half the game with back spasms.
Yeah,
that hurt us. But Miami's missing a lot of players right now, and they're all coming back very soon.
This is a game that showed how badly you're missing your corners.
Yeah. I mean, we're missing Jalen Ramsey and Howard. Like, we have a top 5 bare minimum cornerback duo.
And they're both out.
And
it showed. This is a game that really showed.
And one of the things that's the most frustrating to me, and McDaniel had a good response. Cam Smith was taken in the second round at corner.
Mm-hmm.
Many people projected him as a first.
Yeah.
He has only played like 6 snaps.
Yeah.
And they asked him about the game, why haven't we seen him? And he said tonight was not the right night.
That's fair.
He will get his time, but it wasn't a good day to play him.
That's fair.
And I understand he doesn't want to take away any confidence from the player, but
yeah,
we really needed a corner in that game. Eli Apple got smoked all day long.
Yes. Yeah. But the Eagles looked how we expect the Eagles to look, right? Yeah. They are a championship Super Bowl level team.
Mm-hmm.
And this was a game for them to come out and show it, and they were able to show it. Now that they've got a consistent running back on that team, that makes them a scary freaking team. All of a sudden, Dallas Goedert's balling out.
Yeah, and he had at least 3 catches on Eli Apple, a corner, just running away from him.
Yeah, and the thing is the big controversy every week right now at the Eagles is the QB sneak.
Yeah,
and we were kind of talking about it, but the problem with it is everyone wants to freak out about it. If you look at the numbers of the rest of the league with QB sneaks, they don't have they're sub 500, under 50% completion rate of getting the first down. The difference is the Eagles have a freak offensive line starting with Kelsey in the middle.
Yeah.
And their quarterback is a freak of nature with his strength in his legs.
And
he is squatting more than what you're expecting your offensive and defensive linemen to squat.
Well, and they do it very smart. So, like, a lot of times they will bring Lane Johnson from right tackle, who is one of he's a Hall of Famer. They will bring him into left guard for those plays.
Yep.
And they will just say, Kelsey, Lane Johnson, go get it.
And Hurts is patient with it.
Mm-hmm.
He's not just putting his head down and going, which is what a lot of quarterbacks do. He's snapping it and takes a split second to read where the push happens, and then he goes to it.
I think he got 7 yards on one of them.
He did. They literally could have just ran that as their offense.
Yeah.
And they would have won that game.
They probably could have.
So it's something that
it's going to be controversial forever because they're so dominant, and that's always the problem when someone becomes so great at something. It's like
it's for me, it's a perfect storm on how that team is built for that to work.
Yeah, I mean it's like a couple years ago with Steph where they were talking about, well, maybe we should move the 3-point line because Steph Curry's getting too good.
Yep.
You can't change it because one team got so good at something. Someone's going to figure out a way to stop it.
Yep.
Until then, it is what it is.
It is something I could see if it continues in this way. I could see teams bringing on an extra like beefy nose tackle type player on their roster strictly for these types of plays, and that's it.
Yeah, I mean, it could happen.
Which is what you do, right? As a team, you have to adjust to be ready for things.
Yeah, you have to make adjustments, and I don't agree with banning it, even though the Eagles beat the shit out of us with it. But you got to figure out a way to stop it. I don't care what it is.
Yep.
Figure it out.
Yep, I would agree.
So, I mean, in Miami, I think that they played a great game. I think when you get your 2 All-Pro corners back, I think that when you get your All-Pro left tackle back, I think when you get your starting left guard back who left in the first quarter with injury, your center who's rated, I think the 6th best center in the league right now, when you get A-Chain back, when Jalen Waddle doesn't miss half the game,
yeah,
I think it's a closer game. And honestly, it was a 1-possession game.
And that's the thing. That's the thing is it goes back to, the next man up thing. And you guys were playing a Super Bowl level team.
And we didn't have our players.
You were with the next man up mentality. You guys were
one score.
You were one possession away from tying that game. You were one play away from a tie ball
game.
You were
push away from getting the ball back with it being one score game.
One Tyreek Hill drop from tying the game. Right there were so many things in that game that's just like you were right there, and that's going to be the Dolphins' biggest challenge this year. Is when you get up against these experienced teams who have battled in the playoffs, who have battled in Super Bowls and things like that, who have that kind of experience, can your players show out for it? And that's where guys like Tyreek and Jalen Ramsey are going to be important. You need them healthy, and you need them to step up and make plays.
Well, and we have players that have been in the big stage.
Yep.
Like Jalen Ramsey's won a Super Bowl. Armstead won a Super Bowl.
Tyreek Hill
won a Super Bowl.
That's what I'm saying. Those are the guys they need to be able to rely on.
National championship. I mean, they've all played in big games. Jalen Waddle's won a national championship. They've all had the lights on them. They will be important players when the time comes.
Yeah.
But we need everyone healthy and can't make excuses. We lost. I'm not going to complain about the refs because it is what it is. You have to deal with what you've been served. So we'll see what happens. I think Miami still is going to make a run in the AFC. I don't see. I think Baltimore is their biggest challenger in the AFC, other than Kansas City.
Yeah, those are in my opinion the 3 legit contenders, and that's it.
Yeah, and I think Kansas City. We struggle with tight ends a little bit, but they don't have anyone really that scares me except Travis Kelce. Yeah, and Jalen Ramsey has guarded tight ends before, and so I think that we match up well with them.
That's why you brought a guy like that in.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see what happens, but I took a loss. Great team in Philadelphia. I talked about it last week. I was worried about the game. I was a little scared. We weren't healthy going in.
Yep.
Played out just kind of like we thought. So I had a couple of other things I wanted to bring up. Kevin Bayard from Tennessee was traded.
Yes.
Yeah. For nothing. Nothing. Like Terrell Edmonds, safety, 5-6-year starter in the NFL. Not a great player though.
No.
And you're talking like 2 late picks. Kevin Bayard's one of the best safeties in the NFL last 10 years.
Yep.
For nothing to Philadelphia, just to make that secondary better.
That's the thing. That was such a big pickup for them.
Man, and Tennessee ate most of the contract.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a tough trade. They already have Darius Slay. They already have James Bradbury. And now they go get Bayard. That defense is scary.
That's a team, right? That's putting the pieces together to go make that Super Bowl
push. They're making those last couple plays, and they're finding very good veterans for cheap.
Yeah.
So one other thing, Dolphins are the team for mid-season Hard Knocks.
I saw that. That was announced today, right?
Yeah.
I'm excited to see that. Mike McDaniels is fun.
Dude,
he's a character.
He's the coolest coach in the
NFL. He really is. So any chance to be able to see more behind the scenes stuff with that guy, I'm a fan of. I'm interested to see the dynamic of this team. Obviously, Tyreek Hill, it fully backs Tua.
Yeah.
He was talking him up, pissed off about people talking down on him this past week, and so I think that'll be. I mean, with the way the story's going with them right now, who else do you pick?
Oh, I mean, you don't want Denver on there?
It might make for better drama TV.
You have the greatest movie quarterback of all time.
Thanks. That's
Yeah.
great. That's great.
Like he is like you write a movie, Russell Wilson is your quarterback.
Yeah.
Says all the right things, does all of the right things. I don't know. Is Russell Wilson a bad teammate though?
That
Is Russell Wilson the kid from draft day who nobody went to his birthday party?
so that's my concern is how much of it is a show that he's putting on and how much is it that he just rubs people the wrong way. That he doesn't necessarily do anything wrong.
Yeah.
It's just the way he acts does it just kind of rub people the wrong way. And I don't know, there was a moment in the game when we had just like turned the ball over or punted or something, and him and the line are talking, and in those moments sometimes you see the way they react and stuff like that, and the line was like super engaged with him in the right way,
Mm-hmm.
and the receivers and stuff like that, like Sutton was there and they were all talking, and it was you could see it was a very productive conversation. So it's hard to look at those things and be like, nah, he's a bad teammate. But there's definitely a couple weird things.
Yeah, like Marshawn Lynch saying he couldn't get his number.
Yeah, but like,
I think Russ has come
how much are we
away.
trusting Marshawn Lynch as a good teammate?
It's true, but did the interview with Shannon Sharp?
Yeah,
Did you see it?
I have not.
He was talking to Marshawn, and Marshawn, I don't remember what happened. It was a carrier or something that happened in a game, and Marshawn wanted to call Russ to apologize. And he like texted a teammate, like, hey, let me get Russ's number. And he said, oh, call this number. So he calls that number, and it's team 3 or whatever it is. And they say, what's your name? He's like, Marshawn Lynch. And they're like, well, what do you want to talk to Russ about? And so like
Really?
Marshawn like tells him, and they're like, well, we'll take your number and we'll pass it on to him, and he'll call you. Russell Wilson calls him from a blocked number later on.
What a weird situation.
So it's like there's just little things coming out, and I'm like, I don't. It's weird. He almost isolates himself from his teammates at times.
Yeah.
Like personally, it's not on the field. It's not in the practice facility. But as soon as he leaves, it's like he isolates and he doesn't want to be part of the team.
Almost feels like he's like better than
Yeah.
everyone kind of attitude.
Yeah, and so that's kind of
Because if that happens to me with a teammate, I don't care who that teammate is. It's like, screw you, dude. I don't.
yeah. Like your teammates, you don't hang out with everyone after the game, but I mean, if you need to get a hold of somebody, if you want to go hang out with somebody, you can.
At the end of the day, if I'm the star running back, receiver, whatever on a team, I've got my star quarterback's number.
For sure. I mean, when I played, I made sure that all of my receivers could get a hold of me if they needed to.
Yep.
I didn't go get my number to each one of them, but a couple of guys had my numbers. I'm like, hey, if somebody needs to get a hold of me, just let me know.
Exactly.
And I would just like tell them like, hey, I'd get a text every once in a while and it's like, hey, so and so is trying to get a hold of you. I'd be like, all right, send me their number, send them my number, like just have them reach out.
Yeah, that's a weird.
It's just a weird situation. So I'm kind of like, is he that quarterback from draft day? Like the Kevin Costner thing wasn't wrong. You don't take a quarterback who's none of his teammates go to his birthday.
Yeah.
There's been times where Russell Wilson's lineman wouldn't help him up after he got sacked.
Yeah, that's definitely a concern.
And I mean, he kind of did it a little bit last year where he had team 3 his own office.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we got rid of that shit real quick. When Sean Payton came in.
Yeah, Sean Payton threw that shit out the door. But I mean, I don't know. It's just kind of some things about Russ. I'd love to see Denver take a young quarterback and develop him behind Russ.
That's what I want.
I don't know if I think he would pretend to be that guy, but I don't think Russ would be that good mentor.
Right. And that's the thing. Well, that's the concern is it's almost if that's the route you end up going, do you end up just cutting him or trading him because of how much money he's guaranteed if he's still on the team by like there's a certain date in the offseason. If he's still on the team, he gets like 37.5 million guaranteed next
Yeah,
year.
but as far as trading him, who takes him at this point?
That's why there has been discussion about cutting him, which is like the biggest put your pride to the side. I screwed up and just try to recover some sort of just moving on from it that you could do. So is that really going to happen? I don't know.
Probably
What
not.
that the only way that happens, in my opinion, is if George Payton gets fired.
How long has he been the GM?
Like 2 years. I don't know, 3 years. Three
Long,
years.
long enough for it to seem like hell.
Yeah, because I think he had one. If I remember, he had one season before trading for Russ. So I think this is his third year.
Okay. So
Because
GMs get a lot of leeway.
no, because Judy was John Elway's last like first rounder.
That was 4 years ago, wasn't it?
So this is Judy's third season. So
Okay.
yeah,
All right. Yeah. So he's going to get some leeway, even if he made a big mistake. Probably going to have him for a while.
I don't know. We brought in the Walmart the
Walmart husband owner. Yeah.
So the owner group that we brought in, they've made it pretty adamant that they are going to spend the money to put a championship team together, and they will not deal with that not happening. So I could see some pressure there, and them willing to not commit to him because they came in after him.
Interesting.
I could see them wanting their own. I'm pretty sure they came in after him.
See, but when something like that happens, are they too adamant that they have to win to where they won't get rid of a veteran? Or if they get rid of a veteran, do they just bring in a new veteran?
Yeah, I don't know. That's what scares me. That's what scares me with the owner group for sure. Is that they're not patient enough to do it the right way.
I mean, it could happen. Stephen Ross always said he would pay any money necessary. It's part of why we had so much dead cap
Yeah.
in Miami. Is he said, I will write any check necessary to win the championship.
Right.
So, I mean, it can be a good thing.
Which they've done so far with what they've paid freaking Russell Wilson and paid Sean Payton.
Yeah.
Giving up for them. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
We'll see. I mean, we'll see what happens. It'll be
I
interesting.
truthfully think we've got the right coaching staff. Even with Vance Joseph struggling, he's a really good defense coordinator, and he showed over the past couple of weeks that he's adjusting and he's making the right changes that need to be made. Sean Payton has been pretty open to being willing to developing a team, and so I think we've got the right players in place or coaches in place. It's just
yeah, and I agree. Like Vance Joseph, he was with Miami for a minute. I liked him. Thought he was a good D coordinator. Thought he left too soon to be a head coach.
Yep.
And Sean Payton's been a good coach for a long time. So I think you have a good staff. The GM and the players are going to be.
That's the big question mark.
Let's see. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what happens. We'll see who the big players are at the trade deadline. And
yeah. The next few weeks will be exciting. We have how many weeks till trade deadline?
did they move it to week 10?
I can't remember.
It was week 8 forever. I want to say that they moved it maybe to week 9.
Maybe.
I know it's coming up. We're going to start seeing a flurry of deals. People are going to get traded. Derrick Henry is probably not going to get traded because no one wants to take him. And
yep.
The only team he's going to succeed on is Tennessee. I don't know. Cleveland, they're missing Bradley Chubb. Could they get Derrick Henry to kind of be his replacement?
Nick Chubb.
Or Nick Chubb.
I was like, huh?
Bradley Chubb plays for Miami.
Yeah, because Jerome Ford is not the answer.
Jerome Ford's not the answer, and
Kareem
Hunt
had 2 carries for 77 yards.
Yeah.
Ended with 11 carries for 73 yards.
It was so funny because I kept following that game and I was like, oh, he got a 3-yard run. Oh, he got a negative 4-yard run. Oh, he got a 5-yard run. Oh, he got a negative 4-yard run.
That was entertaining. And I'm playing him in fantasy, so it was fine with me.
Yeah. So,
but yeah, we'll see what happens in the next few weeks. But
yeah,
we'll see you guys at the end of the week to go over week 8 preview.
Yep.
Thanks, guys.
See ya.